Alright, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going through a series of video presentations I'm creating based off of the PowerPoint slides for two Muroc textbooks, those being Muroc's JavaScript and jQuery, 3rd edition, and Muroc's HTML5 and CSS, 4th edition. I've already gone through the entire HTML5 and CSS3 book. There are 20 chapters, and I did about 27 or so presentations. And now, finally close that. I'm in the JavaScript and jQuery. I'm up to the last chapter I'm going to be doing in the book. I've done all of section 1, I've done all of section 3, and in section 2, I've done chapters 8, 9, 10, and 11. So chapter 12 is the last chapter I have before I have finished up with this. Okay, then next week, ideally, we're going to start building the website based on the different chapters that are in those two books. All right, so let's jump into chapter 12. How to use Ajax, Json, and Flickr. Using Ajax with XML or Json to update a web page without reloading. That's what Ajax is all about. Use Ajax and Json with the API for Flickr to get a feed for photos and display its data on web pages. Use your browser to review a feed to see what data items it returns. In general terms, describe how Ajax works. In general terms, distinguish between XML and Json data. Distinguish between different jQuery methods, talk about JSON-P, which is JSON with padding, and cross-domain security policies. In general terms, describe the way you use the API for a website to get data and display it on a web page. In general terms, describe how reviewing the feed from a website can help you understand the data items in the feed. All right. Ajax. Let's talk first before we even go into this. Let's go out, and I'm going to type in here Jason James Garrett. And that may not be the right name, but I thought it was. All right, maybe it's Jesse James Garrett. I don't remember. Well, that is him right there with the purple hair. All right, and he wrote an article a long time ago. I'm going to type in Ajax right here. And it was called, or is called, Ajax, a new approach to web applications by adaptive path. Now, if you really want to understand Ajax and know about its roots, I'd suggest reading this article. All right? Now, they mention in there that if I go out to Google, and they've changed the way Google looks and feels, you know that. But if I go out here and say search Google, and I type in, for example, let's say I'm originally from Wisconsin. Don't hold that against me. All right, but I want to search about the Green Bay Packers. If I put a G in there, notice what comes up. It's a little different. It's stuff that I have looked for that's got a G in it. If I bring an R up in there, it changes some more, EEN. Well, notice now there's green bean casserole recipe, which my daughter wanted, and Green Bay Packers, and Greenwood Conservation Area, and Green Mile. This is stuff that's brought up by Google Suggest. All right? Now, I used to go out and show people this, and it doesn't exactly work like this anymore. But I used to go out to familyvideo.com to show people, because what used to happen when you went out to familyvideo.com, and it's taken a long time to load for whatever reason, but when you came in there and you put your mouse over some kind of a movie, video stores. Let's see if I can find a different one. VIDEOs. Stores. All right. Well, that's Family Video. All right. GameStop, Family Video. Well, we'll try this one. What used to happen when you did this? This is an FYI for you. What used to happen when you did this is if you brought this up, all right, you brought up their website, and for example, if I came and I moused over this, Now notice it says view details. But in the past, what had always happened was if you highlighted a movie, it gave you a little bubble that came up, and that little bubble would show you some information about the website. You'll notice how this gets gray now, whichever one is active, and I get a button on it. As soon as I move out, it goes away. So in other words, part of the screen is being redrawn based on what I'm doing here. That's kind of what Ajax is about. Ajax stands for asynchronous JavaScript and XML. And the XML part isn't that important anymore. In fact, many books will tell you Ajax just means Ajax. All right. Here is how a normal HTTP request is processed. You've seen this before. All right. But what happened in the past, before the advent of Ajax, is if you made a change, you did something to a website where the page had to be reloaded while the site was running, you got what was called Flickr. That's not the same Flickr they're talking about in here. But the screen went white for just a second while the page was being reloaded. All right? And you had to reload the entire page. With Ajax, again, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, with Ajax, what happens is only the part of the screen that needs to be redrawn is redrawn. Now, much of Ajax is based off of something that James and others found, and that was the ability to use something that was actually created by Microsoft that was called an XML HTTP request or an XHR object that they were able to use to do just a partial page refresh. An API, which we'll talk about later, is an application program interface. All right. Here, as it says, are some of the common data formats for Ajax. HTML, XML, which is, again, the extensible markup language. I'm going to give you my shtick very quickly on XML. All right? Back in the, I don't know when it was, late 90s, early 2000s, I don't know exactly. I could be wrong on the date. Might have been earlier than that. People were really frowning upon HTML, and they said we need something else. We need something more powerful. We need something to replace HTML. All right, so the first thing they did was they came up with XML, the extensible markup language. The biggest change between HTML and XML is the fact that with HTML you've got a list of about 100 to 120 tags that are used for a specific purpose. Must be used that way. With XML, you made your own tags. All right? Well, it was pretty radical at the time. So really what happened was, rather than going right to XML, you come up with XHTML, which was kind of a hybrid between the two. All right? Many sites still use XML. It's still popular. It never, in my humble opinion, achieved the popularity people thought it would achieve. One of the reasons is it's a little cryptic to read. All right? So in many ways, XML, not always, but in many ways and in many places, XML has been replaced with JSON, which is JavaScript object notation. And if you go out, I believe, to Json.org, really ugly website, huh? But you can see it talks about how you use JSON with different things, including JavaScript. All right? So if you want to learn more about that, you can go out to json.org. All right. This is XML data. Must start with the XML heading right here. You can see version 1.0. I believe that's the only version there ever was. Here is the encoding you're using. So again, you're using, in this case, you are using Unicode. There's a beginning management and an ending management tag. Beginning team member, ending team member. And a team member consists of a name, beginning and end, title, beginning and end, bio, beginning and end. Another team member, name, beginning and end, title, beginning again and end, bio, beginning and end. Beginning team member, ending team member, beginning team member, ending team member, beginning management, ending management. So you can see there is a definite hierarchy to this. The same kind of stuff here in JSON. People like this because if you've got any experience using object-oriented JavaScript, this doesn't look that different from object-oriented JavaScript. All right, so members of the XML HTTP request object, here's things you can use with it. By no means do I say that I'm an expert in this. In fact, I'd say I'm more not an expert than I am an expert. All right. Methods for working with Ajax, so you can see some of the stuff that's available. All right. Like with working with jQuery, there's a .each to allow you to go through a list of things. There's load, there's get JSON, etc. All right. A web page that loads HTML elements when one of these links is clicked. So whenever you click any one of these, what comes in here is changed. All right. Two ways to send data with an Ajax request. All right. Notice the difference. A .get method that uses a string. Notice it's all in double quotes. And a map method, or a method that uses a map, and again, that's more JSON-like. All right. Okay. Again, I'm not going through any of this. We're probably just about done with the chapter. All right. They do talk in here about Flickr. Flickr is a thing for sharing photos. All right. As it says, you can go out and retrieve a public photo stream. Why would I want to do that? I don't know. If I had a website, let's just say that was, something that was in the news, I might be able to use Flickr and retrieve photos that were from a newspaper or whatever. All right. Only doing that, of course, with permission to do that. There's a Flickr feed. And as I said, we're probably just about finished here. And as they oftentimes do, they go back to their San Joaquin Valley thing. All right, so that's it. So to my knowledge, I have now finished everything. I looked, and there seemed to be an error in my Chapter 10 stuff that's in here, so I'm going to have to look at it, make sure that indeed it worked. I might, for some reason, the sound might not have come through, but if it has come through, I have now finished all 20 chapters of the Murox HTML5 and CSS3 4th edition book, all of those PowerPoints, and all 18 chapters of the Murox JavaScript and jQuery 3rd edition book. I sure hope that's where I am. And if I am, what that means is that next week I will start building this website. Hope to see you then. Thanks.